with this. With this topic, though, what do you think your daughters are learning from you? Like, what do you hope that they're gaining from, like, watching you and observing you?
I hope that the thing that they are really learning is that take care of yourself and your needs and your mental health and well-being, even if it's inconvenient for other people.
Welcome back to another episode of Between Us. Today we have an incredible special guest. We have Jodie Sweetin, who is an incredible actress, activist, and TV personality who we just adore so much. I really am so excited to have you. I'm actually going to take it back, though, because a few weeks ago, I reached out to you, and we were going to be filming this podcast a few weeks ago.
Yes.
I text you in the morning, like, hey, girl, so excited to see you. You were, like, so responsive, like, yes, this is going to be amazing. We're going to have an amazing time.
Yeah.
A few hours later, I get another text message from you that literally says, I've fallen down the stairs. Yeah. I'm on the floor. I'm texting you from the floor. Yeah. I'm really hurt.
Yeah, because I was, like, supposed to go to your house that afternoon or that evening, and I was actually heading out to go do my podcast out in the backyard, which we had guests for, and they, like, it's 5 minutes before we're doing the podcast. I'm heading down my stairs in these stupid shoes that I have slipped in before, and then I was like, oh, these aren't shoes you should wear on the stairs, but I didn't pay attention to that, and I put them on, and I have my hands full, and I'm walking down the stairs, and I have wood stairs, and so just no traction. I slip, and luckily my low back broke my fall on the wood stair, and I curled up into a ball, and my back seized up, and I was in excruciating pain. It was 2 hours before I could even figure out how to get up and get in the car to get to the hospital. Yeah. And like then I had to lay down sideways in the car, and I like stuffed pillows under. It was really not fun.
I'm really sorry, but I was also so worried, and I started texting you like, do you need me to come get you? Are you okay?
I was like,
and you were responsive, but all of a sudden there was a moment you ghosted, and I got so worried.
No, my husband luckily was working from home that day, so he came in and was like, oh yeah, it was not fun. It just sounded like, and then things clanging. And
no, it got worse because then you're like, no worries, everything's good. I'm at Cedars, which is like a hospital out here in LA, but you're like, I'm at Cedars. Yeah. They're checking to see if it's a spinal fracture. I'm like, you're not okay. That's not okay scenario.
So first of all, everyone walking by as I'm shuffling into the ER is like, do you need a wheelchair? I was like, if I could sit down, I would love one. I mean, that wasn't as cheery as I said it. I was just like, I can't sit down. So I shuffle my way in there, and of course they're doing construction, so you got to walk all the way in, and it's not easy, and it's like way further than I have ever walked into the ER. And I finally get there, and they start asking me, they're like, is anything tingly? I was like, yeah, my leg's a little, and they were like, oh. So they put me on like this special little scooter wheelchair that you stand, it's a standing wheelchair.
A standing wheelchair.
Look, that also
you
sounds
sit down. Okay, hold on, but this sounds dangerous.
Like a walker, except it's got, you stand on it, and then they push you along in that. They just sort of, pull you along.
I just feel like if you just fell down the stairs, putting someone on wheels does not seem like the best option.
But I'll take that over shuffling this far and like
that's true,
and everything being excruciating. So anyway, I have not fallen down the stairs today.
Great.
Yeah, it's all so far so good.
We're excited to have you, and you made it.
I did.
Amazing.
Yes.
No, I really am though. I'm super happy. Like, I feel like I've been able to like get to know you over the years. You guys at home don't know, but our daughters went to school together.
Yeah.
They became really close friends, and I feel like we just got to really blossom our friendship from that.
Yeah.
So like had this like, I don't know, like this front row seat of like seeing you just be a badass woman, like a career mommy that's awesome, but like also you're an activist, which I love. Like you're always using your voice to like get involved and do good things. So I've always admired that about you. But like the girl, like the little girl part of me just wants to be like, it's kind of crazy I'm sitting here with you. Like if I really like took it back to being like a little girl, like I grew up with you, watching you as like Stephanie Tanner on Full House. And I just feel like, I don't know, it's cool. Like when I take a step back and like, yeah, we're friends, but like I was like, I watched you and grew up with you, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that is like, I think all of my friends have that experience where it's like, and it is that thing. I mean, even when anybody that you're friends with that has done something, you know what I mean? You're kind of like, It's so weird. Like I like that show, and and you're like, I don't see you as that, but at the same time, like, cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, little kid me would have been so thrilled to know that this was going to happen.
Absolutely, but it is. It's like one of those moments where like I hadn't really thought about it until now, being like, wow, that's wild.
Yeah.
I like grew up with you, but I do like just curiosity. I've never asked you how you even got into acting because you were so young.
Yeah, I was like 4 years old when I started doing commercials, and I actually got into it. I started doing pageants when I was little, but like I always say, pageants in the days before the we were spray tanning babies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We weren't allowed to wear makeup.
Wait, hold on. Spray tanning babies,
girl. They will spray tan a toddler.
It's a thing now.
It's a thing. I'm not even kidding.
That
it's
has
disgusting.
To be wrong. That can't be good for their skin.
It's
it can't be good for their anything. It's nothing. There's nothing good about spray tanning a baby. Don't do it.
Gosh.
They're fine. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, when I did it, we were not doing that. And it was like, we weren't allowed to wear makeup. It was just pretty fluffy dresses and, it was fun and all that kind of stuff. But I loved performing. I was in dance. I was in dance class. I would, at recitals, sort of weasel my way to the front if, push people out of it. I loved what I did. I loved performing. And I read at a really early age. At like 3.5, I was reading.
You were reading at 3.5?
Yeah, by 4, I could pretty much put anything in front of me and I could read it and memorize it really quickly.
My gosh.
So most kids at that age can't do that.
Yeah.
So you wind up working a lot because you have the ability they can hand you a script and you can read it and, and they can give you notes and figure out how to do it. So that really was hugely advantageous to me as a kid. And it also meant that I loved words and I loved performing and words. And it was like sort of this natural thing of like, oh, I really like acting. I like to pretend. I like to, do all these things. And it keeps my mind busy.
Yeah.
It really, because I kind of think fast and like things, came relatively quickly.
Yeah.
I needed to be like not entertained, but like challenged.
Your brain must be working really fast because to be able to read, but also comprehend what you're reading is a whole different skill set. So at that age, being able to like understand it, be able to deliver on it after, like that's really wild. Like your mind's processing a lot all at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. And like, I started Full House when I was 5 and I was in kindergarten for 2 days and skipped to first grade. And I was already doing Full House. And so I never really knew any other school experience other than sort of doing half in and half out, which now that I'm older and have really thought about how my brain works and how my ADHD works. That was actually the best thing for me because I could be in class and like get in trouble for talking, but absorb the information and then go one-on-one set tutor. And they were like, sit down and do the math. So you
still, while you were like doing the show, you still went to an actual school?
I went to a public school. I went to school in the morning and work in the afternoon for our rehearsal days 2 days a week. Mondays, starting in the like second or third season, we were off. It was a 4-day work week. So Mondays I would go to school, and then Thursday and Friday were like exclusively on set because we had longer hours and we were taping.
I just don't realize, for me, even listening to you, but I don't think a lot of people at home realize that like that's wild. Adults are complaining about that many hours of a job,
right.
Let alone being a kid. You're at school and working and trying to be a kid all at the same time. And you don't really get to separate those things when you're growing up.
Right.
Because you're just kind of like thrown into the mix.
But I guess people are like, wasn't that weird? I'm like, I never knew anything different. I don't have any memory of my life ever not being sort of this like hybrid thing. So I guess that was always the thing too, is, people were like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, this was so normal because it was just what I did. It's just what I've always done. It was like completely unimpressive to me.
Do you like, even looking back though, do you enjoy that that's how you grew up?
Oh, I wouldn't change it for anything. I think it was the best environment for me. And not only that, but I was really, really fortunate that the set that I was on and the people that I was around were incredible. Cast, crew, everybody, casts, families, like it was warm, safe, fun. The producers really made the kids a priority. If there was something that we really, really wanted to do and they could work it out in the scheduling, so where maybe it was a Thursday and we were shooting stuff, maybe they'd work it out so we could shoot in the morning and then make it to the afternoon so we could do whatever the thing was at school or the perform, whatever. They worked with us like as much as they could. I mean, they let the girls go for prom when they were, old enough, Candace and Andrea. And Andrea actually had her prom date come to the set and pick her up.
Oh, that's actually really cute.
She had to take pictures with her family, the Full House family, and this poor guy was just like, what is happening?
Oh my gosh, he was probably stunned,
he's like,
shocked, and all the things.
Oh, it's great.
You're going to think I'm describing weight loss injections, but I'm not. These remarkable weight loss testimonials come from a doctor formula weight loss supplement called Lean. So let me go through them. Patty S. said, I finally found a weight loss product that works. I wanted to lose 20 pounds a week or more, and Lean really curbs my appetite. Lori M. wrote, I've struggled to get weight off, and Lean has been a lifesaver. I've been losing a couple pounds a week. Kelly F. said, amazing. I immediately noticed an energy boost and a healthy weight loss in weight, and I would promote this product to anyone. So Lean was created by a doctor and university researcher to target the goals of GLP-1s, but without the injections. And these studied ingredients in Lean have been shown to lower blood sugar, radically reduce appetite, and burn fat by converting it into energy. If you're struggling to lose weight and healthy diet and exercise isn't enough, Lean is perfect for you. Let's get you started with 20% off. Just use the code BetweenUs20 at takelean.com. That's code BetweenUs20 at takelean.com. Again, takelean.com. Now, disclaimer, results vary. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA, and it is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease, and is not a substitute for care from a healthcare provider.
It's a lot to balance, but I think in a way, I just really enjoyed it.
But you could feel that. You could feel how much there was actually genuine care for you guys. And you guys still are a family now. Like, I still see all the things you guys are always doing. And I think it's cool that you guys just filmed another show together, but then you guys are still always actively checking in with each other. And it's really fun to see that your cast really was a family, but still is a family.
It was none of what you saw on screen was fake or, it was genuine, love and caring for each other.
Yeah, I didn't have the experience like you did. I feel like I even started young in my career, but I was still 18, right? So for me, it's when I look at how young you were, I still had a childhood since I was at school, and that was normal.
Right.
But really, I started a job when I was 13 years old.
Right.
And I had to pay for my own, dance career and all that. But I tell my kids all the time, there's nothing I'm more grateful for but having that time, having a job, because it just teaches you so much that I feel like you just jump started into being an adult while still being a kid. So you got to have both worlds, but it made being an adult much easier.
For me, in some ways, you know what it has made easier is I have a really strong work ethic, and I learned at an early age that even when it's sort of the ultimate lesson of even when you don't want to do something, if other people are depending on you, you show up and you do it.
Yeah.
And at a very early age, I understood that concept very well, that because you got to work sometimes if you have a cold and you don't feel 100%. You understood well, okay, but I'm making a show and there's all these people that have to, so I'll be okay. I'll take, and it sucks. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I know today I work my ass off in every sort of area that I'm in, and I know I do it because one, it was instilled in me by my dad, my parents, but it also is just sort of how I've always been, is you go and get the job done, because it's not just about you. It's about an entire crew of people or a group of people,
Yes. And you've got to do what you got to do, because it's teaching and also instilling that into your kids. I know obviously we have Wesley here, but you've got 2 daughters. You know what I mean? They're always watching you and are observing you and how you're doing this. Yeah. So those skill sets that you learn from such a young age, they're getting instilled to them now from you.
Yeah. They don't do their own laundry, but I do hope that they, are self-sufficient, because that is absolutely what I've.
You can start at any time, because I will say about laundry, I only just now started doing my own laundry. Listen, there's just some things we're good at and not good at.
Here's the thing. I love sorting laundry. Yeah. I love putting it in the washer.
Yes.
I don't mind changing it from the washer to the dryer. Once it is in the dryer and it needs to come out, I don't want to. I'm sorry, I can't match socks. That is asking too much for my brain. And I will put it in a laundry basket and then it sits there like on the floor in my bedroom. And my husband will be like, is today the day? And I'm like, don't, just look, it's clean. Okay.
You're like,
it's
no,
like
today is not the day,
mostly.
actually.
Like today, right. I'm like, just leave it alone.
Today is not the day, and tomorrow is probably also not the day.
Right. But I've gotten better at it because I'm like, if I'm going to ask the kids to do this, I have to be a little more on it.
Wesley, do you know how to do your laundry?
I do know how to.
I'm shocking.
How to
But
and doing it are two very different.
But do I do it? No.
No, I feel like that is the one thing I really am like trying to instill in them, how to have good, like, you know, those are basic tasks in your life that you have to learn. And I really spoil us because like laundry to me, I've always taken it out and I've always had someone do it for me, just because when I first was 18, I moved to New York and it was just hard in New York to do laundry. So
that's the thing.
Someone like was a delivery service. I would just put it outside my door. They'd come pick it up and bring it back. So it's a struggle.
Yeah, it is a struggle. I get it. And there are times that it is overwhelming and the dryer is just not keeping up with us. Because I think I need a new dryer because my kids, they won't do laundry for a month and then they put it all in there and think this giant load is going to dry and it's all tangled up.
Now that I know you do your laundry, we're going to have you do your laundry. All right, we'll change to this. How about this? With this topic though, what do you think your daughters are learning from you? Like, what do you hope that they're gaining from like watching you and observing you?
I hope that the thing that they are really learning is that take care of yourself and your needs and your mental health and well-being, even if it's inconvenient for other people.
That's big.
You know, and also that, you know, I hope that they learn that they don't need, they can do it, everything that they need or want, they are absolutely capable of doing, and they don't need anyone else to rescue them.
And they don't need the permission to do it.
Right, exactly. And I really hope that I have instilled that in them. And it's, you know, it's hard, and it's like walking that line of like, I want you to be free and do whatever you want. Wait, hold on. You know, like, well, not that much. But at the same time, like, I also know, you know, my girls have seen me walk through uncomfortable situations and continue on and persevere and be like, we got it. It's all right. Let's go. And I know, you know, you guys understand that. And that's what I hope my girls see, is that there is nothing that you can't get through, overcome, and figure out, and that you don't have to do it all yourself. You can have people help you, ask for help. There's nothing wrong with that, but just know that like you can do this.
Yeah.
That if you put the plan in place, you can do it, whatever it is.
Yeah. And keep going.
Just keep going.
You know, it's like, I think sometimes like our society keeps us so busy. There's so many choices that have to be made. There's so many things to have to take care of. There's so many things being thrown our way, and opinions and thoughts and judgment. And
we're inundated with information, but we are very lacking in understanding and comprehension and the ability to like digest stuff, you know,
and take the time to digest it, and that's okay. I feel like I'm only learning that as an adult now.
Me too.
Is like, because it's just like so much, and I'm also trying to give as much as I'm taking in, so it's just this constant battle and of like putting out information, receiving information, learning something new, gaining something new, teaching someone a skill, teaching myself something. Like, it's so much, but it's like I'm trying to learn that like having a day where I don't do any of that. Like having a day just to observe.
So I started journaling.
Is new for me.
At the beginning of, like right around my birthday, I started doing like a whole new journaling thing. And it's this amazing like woman-founded, South Asian woman-founded small like company called Silk and Sonder. Shout out, yay! But
we love Silk and Sonder.
But it's like a monthly bullet journal thing. But it also has questions in it, and it's a combination of organizing my thoughts and my day and all of that, and also taking 10 minutes each day to like listen to the little journaling prompt thing, write the answer to some question, or how can, like, this month's theme is simplicity. So how can I simplify a routine? How can I simplify whatever? And then write out my thing for the day and kind of look at it and be like, oh, actually I can accomplish this.
Yeah.
But doing those like little things of, I have to carve out time for myself each day is also something that I want my girls to know that they're allowed to do, even when they're moms, even when they're busy, no matter what, like, if you need to take 10 minutes to yourself, go do that. And you are worth that.
Okay, so we're all human, and I have to admit, I don't always eat healthy. In fact, I find it really, really hard to eat enough in a day let alone healthy choices. Like, I find that I'm always eating sugar, I'm always having candy, but it's not the right kind of sugar. I know that you're supposed to have 5 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. And for me, that just has not been happening. That is why I love to have a glass of my Field of Greens daily, because it is so helpful with my really busy schedule, running around being a mom all day. It's just the thing that I know I can count on. Each fruit and vegetable was doctor selected for a specific health benefit. There's a heart health group, lungs and kidney groups, metabolism, and even healthy weight. Only Field of Greens makes you do this better health promise. Your doctor will notice your improved health or your money back. So make sure you guys head over to fieldofgreens.com and you guys can use the code between us to get 20% off your first order.
Do you feel overwhelmed, exhausted, or disconnected from your partner? Well, let me offer you something that could help. It's called Paired. It's an app for couples who want to strengthen their relationship. And it's founded on the simple belief that real lasting love is hard work and a daily practice. All of Paired's content is backed by experts and relationship therapists, and it's proven to work. Now, all you have to do is you and your partner have to download the app together, and every day Paired gives you personalized questions, quizzes, or games that help you stay connected and deepen those conversations. And sometimes it's just straight up fun. Now, the best part is that you can't see your partner's answers until you answer it yourself. So it's a safe space to have an open and honest discussion. There's no faking it. There's no pretending. It's just about genuine connection. Now, I know for me, sharing in deep conversations, it just plays a huge role in all of the relationships I have. So whether you're just having a few dates or you've been together for a long time, find that time to connect with your partner and nourish that relationship. It can take up just 5 minutes a day. So head over to pair.com/betweenus to get a 7-day free trial and 25% off if you sign up for a subscription. Again, that's pair.com/betweenus. Sign up today, practice love, and Paired is the #1 app for couples to share in quality conversations. Again, that's pair.com/betweenus.
I feel like sometimes it's like, oh, I allotted myself 10 minutes a day, but it's like, no, it can be whenever you need it throughout the entire day. You know, I think that was like, for me, I was like, I'll go on a walk, like, or I'll journal like how you do. Like, I like to do those things as well. But I kind of was like, at one point, I was like scheduling it in. Right. And if it wasn't scheduled, I was like, well, I'll do it tomorrow.
Can't do it tomorrow. Right.
You know what I mean? So it was like, I kept pushing it off. So now it's just like, if I need to take a break, if I've been in a meeting and I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
You guys are great. Can we finish this up tomorrow? Like I will push things to a different time slot now if I need to.
I do too. And I honestly think also like I am 43 now and I just don't care anymore. I just really am like, it's not working for me.
But also, isn't that, there's so much power in that.
Yeah.
I think because we're also like, we were in industries where we feel like we must entertain. We must be on. We must take care of everyone else in the room. We must be aware of everyone else in the room and what's going on and the energy and be the entertainer inside it, but also, you know, holding on to everyone else's emotions while trying to control our own. That we didn't do that.
We get, I think, a little bit of a stunted emotional growth in some ways because we have learned at a young age that as long as we are performing, then we're doing good. And that wasn't a message that my family's, that wasn't a message my parents ever taught me, but it was just, you understand that to be true because it kind of is. You're doing something, you're performing, and it's like, that's what it is. You know what I mean? It's on you.
Yeah.
So, you know, but I think at an early age, you sort of learn like, oh, I have to take this on. And so learning how to kind of shake that off has been really helpful. And something that I hope that my girls see is that, like, you know, you don't have to take on other people's emotions. That's learning what's theirs and what's yours, you know.
Watching how you are as a human, like, I get that feeling from you. So I know that they're seeing it and what is seeing it. Like, sometimes you're like, oh, like, our kids don't realize what we're doing or who we are. But they do. Yeah. Like, they see everything and they're learning and growing and from everything you do. And so, like, you just living your life that way, they're definitely gaining that.
So I want to know that. Wesley, what have you learned from your mom?
Oh. That's I think how to be open and like accepting and like very welcoming. She's made me feel like, I know you say this all the time, but like you really do bring like a love and light and energy into rooms. Yeah. And I think I've tried to absorb that because I'm naturally a quiet person and I'm very reserved. And I think having her as a mom kind of balances me out. Right. It kind of like, it's like yin and yang almost.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think I've learned kind of had to seem open during times and like be charming. You have a charm to you. And so
and
both of you do actually.
Be like a little like, see, it's not as scary as it feels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because I have like a lot of anxiety and like I shut down very easy, and she's kind of like she'll push me and kind of guide me to put myself out. I was the kind of kid that I would literally hide behind her anytime somebody approached me.
Right.
And I still am like that in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I know you. You're like, you have always been quiet and reserved, but like actually love that about you, because I always felt I was like, oh, Weslie is watching. She's I'm sitting here learning all of the information.
I'm very observant and very like analytical about everything.
Yeah.
And so this whole time I've been like sitting here thinking about like what I've kind of observed about your parenting, because I was around you for a while and like around you a lot.
That's true. Yeah, you were kind of like the third kid over there.
Yeah, so like the nights that I spend at your house and like getting to be with your daughter, I think something that you taught Zoe, I was around Zoe mostly, but B too, but you taught your daughters how to have a voice. And I think that's really important. They have this, they know who they are, and that it comes from you. Like you've been able to learn from your career and kind of engage that with the way that you parent and like turn that into a more like healthy, like accepting environment. And I think they definitely take that in, and like you can see that.
Yeah, I've always tried to let them be and express themselves and create whatever person they want. Mm-hmm. And I know that that you'll go through different iterations of that person and of what you're into and who you are and what you think you. Don't ever stop doing that. I just always encourage them. I'm like, be who you are. Don't let anyone dim your shine.
Yeah.
No one is worth that.
Well, because like that concept can cross into anything that they want to do with their future.
Right.
It's the way they parent. It could cross into the way that they want to have a relationship with whoever they want to have a relationship with. It can cross into whatever their career choice is. But like, they're just going to be a strong individual.
Yeah.
Like, I'll never forget, like, our girls, I mean, we went as well, but you guys were walking the front lines together at the Black Lives Matter march. Like they were in the
hanging
front
out of the
row.
sunroof. That was the day that I sent Zoe with you.
Yeah,
because there was and I'm still friends with her.
She saved someone's life.
No, I don't know if it was save someone's life, but she had been attacked with bear spray and had really poor experiences with LAFD and ambulances before, and they were not exactly being warm and welcoming to her. And she was freaked out, and they couldn't get out of there. And so basically I was like, I was like, okay, my car is an ambulance now. And so we carried her into the car, put her in the back seat. It was just all up and down her leg, and she was like in excruciating pain and also having an asthma attack. And anyway,
and it was it was like a really like the where we were, the march we were part of was actually a very loving space. It was like someone that's so supportive.
It was,
but it's just like, but there's some chaos happening around it.
Well, obviously. It was interesting. It was this guy. We don't know who he was, but it happened at several points down the parade line where he just walked by people and sprayed them sort of indiscriminately. Yeah. But anyway, I was like, oh, that's right. You got. I was like, take the kids. I've got to help this person.
I was like, I've got this. Well, you got that. Like you're kind of. I mean, honestly, you're kind of crazy for doing that, but also amazing for doing that. Like you like put her in your car and everything.
Yeah, oh yeah, she was in the car with her friend, and I was like hanging out the passenger side door, like halfway open, using the alarm on my megaphone thing, because everything was closed down because it was it was Pride and Black Lives Matter or something. Yes. It was like the big combination.
Everything was shut down.
Everything was shut down. So like getting to Cedars, which should have been literally 6 minutes. We had to go all the way up and around and cut through traffic. So I was just hanging out the thing, sitting on the window. My friend was driving and just using that to try and get her. She didn't have her inhaler, and things were getting really serious. So.
But you are such a person, which is what I admire about you. Like you're just like we got to do this, and we got to get involved, and we got to take care of it, and we're gonna do it right now. Yeah. Like you don't have any hesitations. Like if someone needs help, you're gonna dive in. Like okay,
sometimes I've definitely gotten into situations where my friends have been like, Get what? No.
Like,
I'm like, I just don't see it.
If we were in the movie or the TV show Last of Us, you are surviving. Like, I know that about you. Like, you are going to be a survivor in any sort of scenario, life scenario, anything you're going to live in.
I would like to think so, and I definitely have learned how to be that along the way. And you know, it's usually you learn how to be a survivor after you've survived some really crappy things.
Yeah.
No one comes by it just like, hey, I'm just tough. You're like, no. Usually it's been, you've had to learn how to be.
But it's also the choices you've made, because a lot of people are dealing, and from any small scale to big scale, really aggressive things, different things are happening to them and at them. But it's your choices that get you to the other side. And you've always made choices to better you, or to learn a lesson from it, or to grow from it. And you've always put yourself on the side of, I'm going to be the best version of myself. And I've always seen that from you. But I also do want to talk about your activism, because I've always loved, like, whenever I look up you on like social media or anything, you're always like at a march, you're getting involved, you're using your voice, you're bringing groups of people together to raise money for some sort of foundation. Like, it's so incredible. But I'm always curious, because like, how do you even learn what you want to put your voice towards? How do you find these ways of getting involved? And then what are the steps to do that? Because it's like you always put your voice in the right place.
Thank you. It's funny. I just came from a meeting with the grassroots Democrats here in LA, and just joined their advisory board. But
So incredible.
And it's funny because I'll be like, I'm going to do everything, and then I overcommit myself, and then you know that's me at 10 a.m. and then me at 6 p.m. is like, what have you done? What have you done? It's not even that I like choose anything. It's just who I am. It's who I've always been. I've always, you know, I have a lot of friends in high school who have, you know, reminded me of stories where I sort of stepped in and fought for somebody that was being treated unjustly. Or unfairly, or in a racist or misogynistic way. And I just have never had a problem with being like, yeah, we're not doing that. I know that I think at people's core, we are good. There are exceptions, obviously. But I think that the majority of us want the same things, and in a one-on-one situation will help each other. For me, it's like, I just have to throw myself into helping and being a voice however I can, you know. It takes a lot of different forms, you know. Sometimes it'll just be that I'm out there on the streets doing stuff. Sometimes at like you know, it'll be on an advisory board, or it'll be going to a fundraiser, or, you know, anything. I try to get involved and really talk to people when I'm out there, and I'm very fortunate that connections are sort of made in that way. You know what I mean?
Right.
You show up, and then other people meet you, and then you talk, and, you know, I'm always willing to talk to people and like get more information and tell them what I'm passionate about. And it's, you know,
It almost feels like it's almost finding you as well.
It does. I'm fortunate again that I have a platform in which it does find me, but it also is because I have just sort of stood up for certain things, and then people are like, oh, hey, you're saying something and you have a platform. Let me come to you to like talk about it. And the best reason to have a platform is to be able to share things like that and information and help. And so, yeah, that's just kind of what I've always tried to do with it.
No, I love that. And it does make a huge impact, because everyone's seeing it. I see it all the time. And it encourages me to like continue to move forward and like get more involved, because there are just people like you in the world that just are making the difference. But also, you're like a go-to person because you actually activate yourself. A lot of people want to. Like I'm like, see, I'm a person where I'm like, I want to, and I'm like, sometimes I'm like, what do I do next? Right. Where you just make it happen.
Well, you know, there's a ton of organizations, and look, I am a very progressive leftist. I am not a moderate, you know, person by any means, but there are so many ways to get involved in a range of things that you care about. From, you know, really, really progressive stuff, or whatever it is that you're into, to, you know, just phone banking for whatever your local Senate race is, or your local city assembly member or whatever. Like it's just kind of figuring it out and showing up. And like, I don't know what I'm doing most of the time. I just sort of show up and throw myself in. Like, you know, I'll show up if we're unloading trucks and helping people with the fire stuff. Cool. I somehow wind up like out there on a semi, like throwing things off a truck, you know?
Yeah, no, that's
that
exactly
is
where I would
absolutely me.
expect to
And I'm like,
find
wait,
you.
how did I like? And people are like, what should we do? And I'm like, did I take over? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. And people are like, no, it's great. So like, it's just, I just throw myself into stuff and,
you see like 10 steps ahead of everyone, to be honest. You really do. In like a great way. You're like, like you'll walk in a room, you see a little bit of chaos and people trying to help you. You're like, hold on, give me the microphone. You start telling and like demanding people into spaces, but like in a way of like, no, we're going to organize this and we're going to get the solution and we're going to do it and we're going to do it right.
Yeah, I try. I mean, by no means am I an expert at anything. And there are some amazing people that I have the good fortune to know from both street activism and, more traditional organizations and politicians and, people that are doing a lot of stuff in a lot of different spaces, a lot of art activists, doing a lot of really radical work. And, and I love all of them and I donate to all of them because I think we need all of it.
Yeah.
And so, I think people get overwhelmed thinking that they have to do so much. But, one of the easiest things you can do is phone bank. You can literally do it from your house, from your phone, computer, like it hooks it up. You can sit there, you can do it for 15 minutes and you make several calls and you're like, okay, I'm done. But you wind up doing it for a couple hours and you wind up talking to people and realizing just how connected and friendly and it kind of keeps you going. And for me, the more that I go into spaces and try and find spaces and advocate for spaces where people are in solution and helpful and kind and loving and empathetic. It's, I think that's just what we need right now. So whenever the opportunity arises, I try and take it.
Well, I feel like it's really cool to hear because obviously growing up in entertainment, Hollywood has this kind of stigma that's like very Hollywood and it's this big giant bubble that everyone kind of lives in. But like really it's a big community where people are trying to always like get activated and make change together. And I think you've done such a great job bringing your girls around to see it. And I try to do my best to bring Weslie around to see it and get involved because, at the end of the day, yes, it's big Hollywood that we live in, but it's a small community of people that we still got to look after.
For sure. And I did not grow up in the LA Hollywood. I grew up in Orange County with very normal parents who had no connection to the business, nor did they want any like attention or any, it was really, they were there for sort of my dream. And so, I'm going to public school and like being like, oh, nobody's more important than anybody else. Like we're all just trying to get along and do our thing. And it was a nice, balance. And it was also just kind of who I am naturally. Like I'm just not that person, but it was like I had this balance of like, oh yeah, there is all this crazy, success and blah blah blah, but like at the end of the day, it's just real life.
Yeah. If you could go back and like give yourself advice as a young girl, what would you give yourself advice for?
There's so many things popping into my head right now. One was be brave. One was be discerning. Because that was something that I had to learn the hard way multiple times in a lot of different relationships. But also I think the one thing that I would tell her is that like, just be you, like skip all of the worry and the concern and the fear of judgment and all of that. Like just get to the part where you really get to be you. 'Cause I feel like in some spaces, it took me a little while. And in others, I kind of was always this very headstrong person. But yeah, I would just go back and tell her, like, just stop giving a shit what people think. It doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter at all. Not in the least.
But the thing is it's so hard, even as an adult, to really remember that because like people say things you immediately like,
of course,
hold on. But it is like, that is the best advice.
Yeah. I really, my biggest thing that I tell myself, that I tell everyone in my life is like, none of this really matters. At the end of the day, like we're going to be here and it's going to be gone and then none of it matters and nobody cares. And not like that. And that is not like a nihilistic way to be like, so don't do anything. To me, it means, so do whatever it is that you need to in order to be you.
Yeah.
Just keep
trying to be the best version of you.
Right.
You know?
And sometimes the best version of ourselves is crappy. Like I've tried to do my best and really miserably failed before. And that's okay too.
Yeah. But it's like, we're on a tiny, you've said this to me actually, we're on a little floating ball.
In the middle of nothing, in the middle of so many things, doesn't matter. And so I'm weird, and when I travel, I like to go to old cemeteries.
You just go to old cemeteries.
I do. I like to just go hang out. And we were in the UK and in Edinburgh, and I would just go in the evenings and like go just hang out and try and find ones that were relatively peaceful and quiet, without a lot of tourists. Not that there was like people, ghosts. But no, I like to go and walk through there because it is a reminder to me of sort of the impermanence and the futility of all of it. That it's like, it doesn't. The things that you're stressing over that you think are going to be the end, they stop here. You know what I mean? Most of the time, all of those things, it's here. So like, don't let it affect everything out here, because this is gonna be over before you know it.
Yeah.
And like, why not live exactly who you are, as loud as you want? And and that's, I just think life's too short to like not be 100% yourself, and to even try and hide, like, if you do screw things up, and to be like, it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
I have no shame about admitting so many things publicly, because I'm like, guess what? Talk to anyone in this room, and everybody has some story of something that they would never want to tell people. And guess what? Like, you tell people, and people go, "Oh my God, me too."
Yes,
because that's the freedom of it. So that's the freedom of being 100% yourself, flaws and all.
Yep.
I think is really important. And that's also something I hope I've taught my girls, is that like, it's okay to not be perfect. Like, perfect it doesn't exist.
Yeah. No, I love that. I mean, I always say that like, the people that have made the biggest impact in the world, we know their entire stories and we don't love all of it.
Right.
But we still admire them because they kept going and they just made choices,
right,
wrong sometimes, but they tried doing something to impact other people in some sort of way. And we get to learn from that and see that and admire that. And that's all you got to do every single day is just make choices.
Yeah. I mean, all I want is to really, to be kind, to be empathetic, and to stop and see each other as people. No matter what. I think we don't often do that these days. So
no, I agree with that. I'm going to ask you one more thing.
Yeah.
What is the best piece of advice you've ever received from someone?
Sign a prenup? No.
Noted.
No. Yeah. I would say it's something that my mom has always said, which is, and it's kind of in the same vein as other things we've been talking about, but don't ever let anyone dim your light. And she used to say that to me when I was young, when I would do stupid shit and and she would be like, make poor choices and hang out with people that I was making poor choices with. She was like, you are letting other people like dim who you are. And she's like, so again, I think it's just that thing of like really staying true to yourself and don't stop growing either, I heard somebody told me once that the second you think that you know exactly who you are, the rest of your life is going to be really boring. Or you know what I mean? Like, because you should always be figuring out new things and new questions. And, that's kind of how I look at like the fun of this.
Yeah,
because it can be really miserable at times, this whole life business. And not even miserable, but just uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so, it's,
isn't it? It's kind of like that getting comfortable with the uncomfortable thing.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, don't let anybody dim your light. There's literally nobody in the world that is worth that.
That's good.
I like that.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Seriously love you. This has been
you
great.
too. I'm so glad I got to see you guys.
I know. We have to hang out.
Literally 5 minutes from each other.
Literally.
I was like, oh, how long? 5 minutes.
5 minutes, yeah.
So it was worked out. I could go get Zoe and get it. Yeah.
Yo, because you hadn't been to this house. You'd only been to
I'd only been to the other one. Yeah, I hadn't been to this one.
Yeah.
So I knew you were like, oh yeah, I moved into, the area, and I was like, oh. And then I got your address and I was like, oh no, like the really, okay, got it.
Yeah, because because you're still at that house, right? Where we went trick-or-treating and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so good. But this has been amazing.
Thank
We
you
love
guys
you so much.
and it's been so amazing to see you. I'm gonna gush and be like, old lady for a moment, but I really am just super proud of like you and Zoe and where you guys have ended up and fought to get to, and it's been really nice to see you grow into who you get to become. So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Is there any projects you're working on right now that you want to talk about?
I have a few. There is one. I'm doing a new live comedy show that just premiered this last weekend that went really great. It is a comedy pageant where we make comedians compete in a beauty pageant. But like, imagine a beauty pageant run by, I don't know, like Tim Burton or something. Like just the weirdest one you've ever been to in your life.
Perfect.
So that's been really fun. I also have a movie coming out on Lifetime called Dangerous in 17. And that is about sort of the radicalization of young men online in these really toxic spaces.
Wow.
On the internet. And I play the mom of someone that happens to. And then, of course, I have How Rude Tanneritos, which is the podcast that I do with Andrea Barber, where we are recapping and rewatching the original Full House because we never watched it.
Oh,
That's
wow.
amazing.
Yeah, so we just never, we were like, why would I watch it? I just did it. And again, I wasn't impressed with it. And it's also, you're like, oh my God. Like, it's so
Well,
embarrassing.
you're watching it and judging yourself and your tool and your skill and your craft, right? We're
Right.
watching it to enjoy it because we're entertained.
Exactly.
You're like,
I'm watching it and like, oh my God, my teeth. But yeah, so we're recapping that, and that's been really, really fun. And we're doing a live show coming up on June 5th too for that. So I've been very busy. I also have a couple readings coming up to benefit the AIDS Children's Health Fund, which we're doing a really fun reading of a script called Whatever Happened to Baby J about a lost boy band member and his life in between. And it's actually funny and crazy, and it's going to be at Dynasty Typewriter on June 9th.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
And also, where can we find you on socials?
You can find me on Instagram at Jodie Sweetin. And I believe I'm on TikTok. I don't manage that account because I have tried to make it my mission to never go on TikTok, and I have stuck to it.
No, we're changing that. We're going to be the people to get you on TikTok.
No, I hate it. I hate social media these days. I engage with it, and then I'm like, and I'm out. But no, you can find me at Jodie Sweetin or at How Rude Podcast.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching today's episode of Between Us. If you like this video, make sure to like it and comment, and also share with a friend.
This podcast has been brought to you by Podcast Nation.